It's really what the filmmaker wants to do at the festival. I've had varying, I've dealt with hundreds of filmmakers at festivals, and they all treat the festival differently. With regards to TIFF, some are just thrilled to get in, and they're just thrilled that they're going to world premiere to our audiences, which are international audiences, and they're thrilled they get a festival pass that they can go see the world's best films and it won't cost them anything, and they get to attend some parties. For them, that's enough. That's they can retire after that. Others will not see a single film during the festival, and they will hustle the entire time. They'll be making sure everybody they want at the festival is in that screening to make sure their film is seen, whether it be a public screening or an industry screening. We do both for our shorts. There's just the publics, which is open to anybody, and then we have our P&I screenings, press and industry, which are open to our delegates and other filmmakers and so on. So filmmakers have multiple opportunities to get people to see their film. Yeah, I don't know. For me, a filmmaker is a filmmaker, whether you're a feature filmmaker or not. The difference for me is often the team you have surrounding you. Feature filmmakers will often come with a publicist and producers and a team. A shorts filmmaker is, essentially equate your production team to your festival team. Whatever level of production team you had around you, you'll kind of want a similar team around for your festival. Because the amount of work you put into your production, you really should be putting into your festival. So at the end of a festival, you should be completely exhausted and have nothing left to give because you've made sure you've done everything you could to make sure your film is known. The difference for a festival is, TIFF is representing 300 films. My program is representing 40 films, so I want to promote all 40 films. Your film is your film. You're the only one for it, so you're dedicated to it, and you've got to push it, and that can mean a number of things. That can just mean going to all the parties and making sure you're talking to so many people and having so many discs in your back pocket that you're pulling out when appropriate. So there's a get down and get dirty approach to being in a festival to get what you want from it.
The positives of a festival like Worldwide Short Film Festival is that we are entirely dedicated to short film. So here is a community of people who work in short film, in the short film realm. There are buyers here, distributors here who are focused on short films. And when they're here, they're not being distracted by other things. Yes, definitely we are hoping that, people are going to be moving into features and that there are going to be discussions happening about careers moving forward here and there. But, really we are dedicated to short film. We're here for the exhibition and the promotion of short film. And we really see ourselves as a festival that wants to help people, take their next step. We're here that's why we run a 4-day symposium, on the art and commerce of short film. We really want to be here to help you take your next step, whatever that might be. So that's sort of where we sit.
I have had a lot of films picked up by distribution, and filmmakers right after the screening come up to me and go, "Oh my God, my film just got bought," and they're very excited about that. Also, though, I would say that there have been instances where the filmmaker has not been able to attend, but some of them that I know real well, I have been approached after the Q&A by distributors saying, "You said you knew the person who did that film. Can I have their number because we want to pick it up?" So it's a good idea also to get to know your programmers, because if it's someone I didn't know, I'd go, "I don't know," or I would not have made a comment about the film. So that helps too, because a lot of times as programmers, you'll be asked by distributors or, producers, they're looking for films, and you'll be able to point them in that direction. And so if you have a relationship, I think, with a lot of the programmers, that helps too, because they'll think of you when someone asks them, about distribution. And I know a lot of the filmmakers at least that I've worked with, their goal is to be, it's very tough with shorts, but if you can sell your short or at least build connections, that really helps. And in Newport Beach, of course, we've got the huge connection with Hollywood, and a lot of those people come out because we're so close.
I've met a lot of filmmakers over the years who just have told me, "Well, my film's really good. People should just like it." And it just doesn't work that way. I think the person that shouts the loudest is going to have a better chance. Obviously, it helps if your film is good too. If you shout really loud and your film is good, then your film will go places. You have to be top of mind all the time with programmers and buyers and really everybody, audiences. So,
not all festivals have markets. Not all festivals have markets directly for short films. So does anyone on the panel have any advice for when filmmakers have finished their film and they're looking at all of the list of the hundreds of thousands of festivals around the world? if you are market-minded and you're going to hopefully sell your work, do you have any recommendations about how to, Sharon, maybe we could start with you?
Well, I think it goes back to John's goal. What's your goal with the film? You have to be honest with yourself and take a long, hard look at your film and say, do I think this is distributable? Do I think this is something that a major distributor like Watt or Shorts International wants? Do I think this short is good enough for broadcast? But I think when you plot your festival strategy, you need to figure out where the audience for your film exists. It's not throwing darts at a dartboard. You have to think to yourself, if you did a short about a coming out gay boy short, where does the audience for that short exist? Because I think I'm speaking for all of us when I say we're programming not for ourselves, we're programming for our festival and our audience. So I have to put my personal opinion totally aside and say, is my audience going to get this? Are they going to like this? What does my audience want from me when they come to a shorts program?
So we actually don't have anything written in our rules and regulations that we require a premiere status. And as I said before in sort of the introductory question, it is something though that does come into consideration. We definitely look at films and think, look very carefully at where they've screened, what awards they've won. Because let's face it, for example, and I mean, we can actually use File Under Miscellaneous as an example. It premiered at TIFF last year, did spectacularly well, screened at Imaginative, won awards, has been nominated for a lot of awards. The film is amazing. But, there was also the feeling that it had had a great festival run, had won some awards. Perhaps it didn't need a place in official selection at Worldwide Short Film Festival. And it just so happened that we always do a sci-fi program. It fit, so we were able to find a home for it.
I mean, I think a lot of it does come down to practicality. For me anyways, for when I'm sort of trying to figure out where I want a film to premiere. So say, for example, with File Under Miscellaneous, I had a very specific goal in mind of what I wanted to get out of the film, so I knew I wanted it to have sort of more of a Canadian-wide splash, so TIFF was my first choice. Now, if I had never had films play at TIFF before, and if I hadn't had a relationship with them, I probably would have been a lot more careful. So I think if you have a relationship with a festival, it's a place you've been to before, you can maybe have a greater chance of not expecting it to get in, but hoping that it will be seen by the right people, and you can have a dialogue from beforehand so that you can get a sense of what its chances are. And if you feel good about it, then you don't need to worry about submitting to a whole whack of other festivals at the same time.
Yeah, so it's a problem that comes up, and I feel for filmmakers when our deadline just passed, 1st of June for shorts. Your film won't screen until the beginning of September. You won't actually find out if your film is selected until maybe end of July, depending on how long it takes us to get through all the work. So yeah, there's a bit of time there where you don't know what you're doing. As soon as you know whether your film's been picked up or not, you can move forward. But we do have conversations with filmmakers, and and don't get the idea that, I know John, so I looked at this film more carefully than others. It's myself and one other programmer. We watch all 600 films, so it's a very intensive process, and we want to make sure we see everything, because I don't want to miss a film from a filmmaker I've never heard from and have it show somewhere else and go, damn, that came through my door and I didn't give it the time it needed. So as a programmer, I don't want to miss stuff. I don't want to just rely on producers and filmmakers who may know me thinking, we have a relationship and we talk a lot, I'm going to get their ear. That's not, for me, I watch all 600 films. I like it when producers tell me, hey, I've got something coming in a little late, keep an eye for it. Great, it's on my tracking list. But that doesn't mean, well, I'm going to be giving this one preferential watching over all of the other submissions, because everybody submits, everybody fills out the forms. Every short filmmaker I know is very passionate about making their film, and I respect that, because it's not an easy haul, and I want to give them their due. Because we want to make sure the filmmaker gets rewarded for choosing us as their world premiere. We take it seriously. When a filmmaker comes to us and says, look, we'd love to have a world premiere with you. We don't take it for granted, go, yeah, everybody wants a world premiere with TIFF. No, we're like, that's amazing that you've chosen us, because you have hundreds of festivals to choose from, and you've come to us thinking that we're going to be able to offer your film something. So we take it seriously, and we're not just doing it to be glib and exclusive. The premiere status helps us to promote the film and make sure we can get audiences to come see the film, because in a program of 6 films, if 4 of those films are online and have 100,000 views, all somebody's got to do is go through our program book and go, oh, I just watched 4 of those films online and I'm not spending $20 to go see them in the theater.
I'm shooting a film in 3 weeks, and I'm already talking to programmers, and I've already submitted an online application to TIFF, even though it's 3 weeks before the film is shooting. The deadline was 3 weeks before we're shooting the film, so just to give you an idea of how I'm planning ahead.
I can just speak for the festivals I work, that will disqualify you. If it's online, as Alex pointed out, why is someone going to pay $10 to come in and see the shorts program when they can see the short online? So if we find out that a short, even if we've liked it and accepted it, is online, we at YouTube or whatever, we will cut it.
In terms of us, okay, so I just have one thing. You know there's an expression, you're only a virgin once. You can fake it, but we'll find out. So that world premiere, yes, I have people in the office that are constantly looking. When we narrow down those 2,800 submissions to 200, they are researching the crap out of you. And when I call to invite the filmmakers, I or my colleague call ourselves, and I reconfirm, what is your premiere status? What other festivals take place before Tribeca that you've applied to that you haven't heard from yet? I need to know. At that point, I will say to them, I need to guarantee world premiere status on this. Because for me, I need, again, I said we have very strict rules and regulations. I need a minimum of a New York regional premiere. If you screen anywhere in New York area, you're not eligible for me. I need to have that premiere status. Equally though, world premieres are very important to me. World premieres generate buzz, they generate press, they sell tickets. I can work with them, I launch these films. World premieres are very important to me, so a third of my program this year was world premieres.
Here's one thing I would say. Don't pester people, but do keep in touch by email or a phone call and say, just a heads up, this is what I'm working on next, it's due to be ready. I'm hoping that maybe I can submit it to worldwide, or, I'm submitting it to Berlin, but I'm also want to submit it to worldwide. Definitely keep programmers in the loop, because for your film to have been programmed at our festival, we have in some way championed that film. So we feel a connection to your work. And so I personally do want to continue that relationship.